They're playing basketball. We love that basketball. They're playing basketball. We love that basketball.
What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Steven, alongside Cy, RWI co-founders, U17, U15, U14, U13, and U12 head coach. And me, man, I do it all, man. You already know what it is. We also got a bronze medalist over here, OCAA bronze medalist this past year with Humber College. We're gonna hear all about it this year. We're very, very, very excited to be talking about what RWI stands for as well. And this is gonna be complete raw footage. It's not gonna be any cuts. It's not gonna be anything different. So you're gonna see all the bloopers. You're gonna see everything. Everything that we're talking about today is gonna be completely raw. So first thing I want to talk about with you, Sai, is what's your experience been like so far with RWI, and how you've been enjoying the process so far with it? And as you know, believe in the process. So just want to get your take on your process so far.
Honestly, my experience with RWI has been complete shit. No, I'm joking. RWI is honestly, we started RWI. Well, I guess you started RWI before I came home from Queen's University. But when I got back, it was started off as like a training program. At first, it was just random kids just coming in the door, you know, working on their games. And then one day you just called me and they're like, "Yo, let's make teams." I'm like, "What do you mean, like, let's make teams? Like, what are you talking about?" Like, I'm thinking, you're thinking like OBA, because obviously I played OBA when I was younger, and I'm thinking like all this stuff, and I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, how is Stephen Korn gonna start a basketball team? Like, I don't understand how this works. I feel like this is harder than it sounds. But you know, you're very like optimistic. You're always like shoot for it right away, shoot first, ask questions later. So you're like, "Yo, let's make a team." So I'm like, "Yo, like, I don't really know what you're talking about. I don't really know what we're supposed to do. But if you give me the blueprints and everything like that, like, cool, I'm in. Just let me know what to do. I'll be there at trials and I'll help you as much as possible." They're like, "All right, bet." So you do it. We have our first official, I guess, RWI trial after a falling out with one of the programs that we used to work with before. And we had a few kids that came out, and it was just like, all like random, like, you know, like just random kids I've never seen before. Exactly. I didn't even think some of them even played basketball, but they just wanted to be a part of the game so bad that they just showed up. Yep. And then obviously we had some kids that started with us and actually kind of really started up the program. I'm just gonna mention their names because I'm sure we're eventually gonna put them on. But you'll see like an Andrew Gutierrez, yep. Franny Yu, yep. Who else started with it? Arion, yep. Dylan. Yep.
Those two guys are actually with me from before we
started. Those are the guys that just really started training with us, and that they ended up coming out to the trials to kind of check it out, just to help the dynamic of what we were trying to do. Yep, yep. But we had all those guys come in the door first time, and we had a bunch of new faces. But anyways, all that happened. We started making a team. It was terrible. I can't tell you how many games we probably lost. And I mean, when you get out there and you start facing teams, and you have a bunch of kids that have no business playing basketball on one team, from 1 to 12, it gets pretty sloppy really fast. Yeah. And it was an interesting year, interesting dynamic, interesting season, but it was a lot of ups and downs. But the kids were great. We had a good time, and that was the most important part. And we did a lot of new experiences, and we tried to give them everything we possibly could. That's when we first started out with the t-shirt jerseys. And when I tell you the t-shirt jerseys, woo! those are vintage. Those are throwback. RWI on the front.
Shout out, baby.
Shout out, baby. RWI on the front, numbers on the back, no shorts, just bring your own shorts. And that's what we started with. And ever since then, we've just been building. And it's just been a building process. Like you said, our thing is believe in the process here. And we've been trying to expand on it. And we've gone from 1 team to 3 to 5 to 9. And now we're at a point where we're reaching different age groups and we're being consistent in terms of what we do. We're bringing in different coaches, like you said, Coach E-Man, Coach Miriam, Coach Amita, Coach Echo, Coach Tyler. Like, all these guys, different people are coming in, and I feel like the experience that RWI brings is kind of genuine and unique from other programs. I feel like we're more relatable in the sense that we have a younger group that's kind of pushing in terms of Most of us just recently came out of school, came out of college, whatever we would have done for post-secondary. A lot of us played basketball at high levels, and now that we're kind of coming back home, we're trying to give back to the kids. The kids feel like they can relate to us a bit more because we're a little bit younger, we're a little bit more in, I guess, in the scene, I guess. Like we have Instagram and stuff like that, so we're able to be on the same level of them a little bit in that sense, as opposed to them playing with coaches that coached me when I was younger. I had a coach that was about 50 years old when I started playing. When I tell you he taught me the fundamentals of basketball, I love him to death. He's like one of the best coaches I've ever had, but at the same time, like, it's completely different when you're playing for a coach that, you know, has been around the game that long as opposed to playing like for guys like us. So we have jokes, we fool around, and we have to do a lot of great things. And I guess that's what, you know, the experience that I feel that we have been consistent in giving. It's been great in that sense because we do so much, not just for the kids, but for the community, for the parents. I mean, we just did an annual car wash just last year, and that was huge. I mean, those things don't really happen anymore for programs, and I feel like that's a lot of the things that programs are missing in today's society. Not even just basketball programs as a whole, whether it's football, baseball, soccer. I feel like a lot of programs are kind of straying away from the community involvement. I feel like that's something that we're trying to push, and we're trying to, you know, make sure that we try our best to get our teams involved in the community, get our teams involved outside of basketball, and pretty much grow characters, not just basketball players, but guys that are going to develop into strong young men or even young females that are going to be able to represent themselves properly in society and, you know, give back and understand the do's and don'ts and the positives and negatives of what life really holds. So that's something that I feel like RWI has been doing great with, and I mean, I've had a great experience in just trying to give back to the kids myself. I feel like basketball for us growing up, we didn't have a lot of the things that we're trying to provide. So being able to give these guys an opportunity to showcase themselves and have a platform where they're able to play basketball and have fun, I feel like that's something really special. And you get, every now and then you get a message from a kid that you worked with for a year, 2 years, whatever the case might be, and that's a good feeling. It's a good feeling when you get a message from a kid that you helped out, and like I said, sometimes they might not realize it at the beginning, but eventually down the line they look at you and they realize how much you really helped them out. So that's something I really, I truly hold dear to myself. But yeah, that's really added to the RWI experience, and I feel like we've been trying to do a good job in that. So yeah.
You know, and when we first started RWI and everything, like Sai was saying himself, we started off with literally a bunch of random kids that just wanted to play basketball and came out and worked hard and wanted to play. But let's talk a little bit about the build-up since then, about how the championships have come along, the tournaments that we've been successful in, leagues we've been successful in. Let's brief on that a little bit. Actually, you just came off of a championship yourself, actually, in the league. So go ahead, go talk about the league again. Or anything else, any other championship you want to talk about? Your favorite champion? Matter of fact, here's what we'll do: favorite championship that you won, most exciting championship that you won, kind of thing, and then your biggest championship award, kind of thing. As a coach, I mean, there's been a few different championships and stuff that's come my way that I've been fortunate enough to see. One of the most, I guess, memorable experiences was when we went to Indiana 2 years ago, and I went with a group of guys that, you know, I still love those guys. I see those guys, I smile all the time, and they're I don't know how we did it. We were down 17 in the finals, 17 points with like 8 minutes left, and I call a timeout. I'm just like, guys, like, it's right now. So you guys want this championship? We have to turn it around right now. Like, we have to. And these guys, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, you know, Russell's out there getting steals or getting layups at one. You know, Jason's hitting threes. And Sahib's out there, Sook's out there, and for me, those are my original guys. I had those guys. I know some of those kids since they were Franny too. I know some of those guys since they were like grade 8. So like now they're grade 9s, grade 10s, and we're out here playing basketball. And
in a situation where I feel at the time we had no business being there, but you know, they made the best out of it, and we had a good time. And they came back, and I was on the bench, clapping, stomping my feet, pacing back and forth, and it got crazy out there. And we ended up winning the championship, and that was a great championship. That was work. We worked for that one, you know. So it felt really good. And I remember holding that trophy with those guys, and I was just like, you know what, you guys earned this. You guys earned this for real, and you guys did a great job. And that's one of the most memorable, definitely one of the most memorable championships that I've had with one of my teams.
That was actually the first American championship that the organization brought home. You know.
Yeah.
The very first American championship, and you never let me hear enough of it. Yeah. I brought the first one home. Like, damn, all right, I'll give that to you.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, you know, there's always a little competition between us in terms of what we do. And
of course. That's all love at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. But that's definitely one of the main championships that I've won. And I didn't even think it was the first one, and I'm saying it right now. But, yeah, that was just because I remember how the feeling felt. It was really good. So, that was one of them for sure. I don't know any other championships really. That championships. I've gathered a few over the years of my years of coaching, and they've all brought different things and different feelings. The one where we went to where was it? Where I got the silver division championship.
Virginia.
It was Virginia, and even that one felt good. We had Russell still. Russell's been one of my main guys for a while now, and I had Raj, Cam Tal's one of my guys. Shout out to Cam Tal. I'm definitely gonna bring him on here one day. But it was a good feeling, and I feel like a lot of the championships have different stories, and I can't really explain all of them because it's just a variety of different feelings. I can't place that all in one place right now. Right. But for sure, championships are championships, and they feel great all the time. So I'm just happy when the kids are able to compete at enough of a high level where we're able to bring some hard work, anything home back to our WI. That's always a good feeling. So yeah, those are two highlighted ones for sure. Those were two that I definitely want to take with me, and I definitely remember sometimes from time to time. And I got like the biggest trophies from those ones as well, so it works out.
Yeah, some good ones over there. Definitely some good ones, and it's always good bringing back home a championship back home in the States, you know, because at the end of the day, we go down there and they look at us and they're like, Canadians. Who the fuck are these guys? You know, like who are these guys for real? So, but whenever we bring home some championship back to our soil, back to Canada, not only are we representing RWI, but we're also representing the Canadian country, or Canada as a country, right? So it always feels good when we're able to bring something back home to home ground and home soil and stuff like that. But so we'll touch up on you a little bit. I know you're not much. You don't really like talk about yourself a lot. You're a very quiet, humble guy. This guy over here is definitely the most quietest and humblest person that you'll ever meet, as a coach, as a player. Unless it's to me, then he's, you know, obviously he might say one to it. Hey, my team is better than yours, whatever. But like we talked about earlier today, it's all love at the end of the day. It's nothing but that. But you know, some of that coach I was able to accomplish back when he was in grade 8 was, I mean, he touched up in it earlier where he said that he's playing OBA basketball, and at the time he played for BJCC Magic, and that team in itself was, my God, it was like probably the powerhouse you see today, the CIA Bouncers, better than at the time probably Toronto 5-0, Scarborough Blues, Brampton Blue Devils. I mean, there's a bunch of teams that don't even exist today, except those three of those teams that I said. But you know, he had a lot of Division I players that could have went Division I at least. He even has somebody that played on his team that is now currently in the CFL. What's his name again? Juwan. He's now in the CFL. So you know, he was able to play with a lot of good character guys, good athletes and stuff like that. So I just want you to kind of touch up a little bit about how you felt about, you know, going 40, you know, in Toronto at least, or OBA self-experience, and then 45-0 when you guys went to represent Ontario in the nationals.
Well, like you said, I coach grade 8s now, and coaching grade 8s now is always it's a pleasure, but at the same time, I always find myself drawn back to my years playing grade 8 basketball, and these guys, I mean, they didn't want the smoke. They didn't want the smoke.
Shout out Shannon Moots.
Yeah, shout out to Shannon Moots. You guys will get that line eventually down the line sometime.
Pink City.
Pink City coming up, and the Maze coming up very soon for those guys that don't know. But I mean, they just didn't want the smoke. I mean, my team was honestly at that time, my team was on a pedestal, and we were winning every game, even any close game. Didn't matter whether we were winning by 30 or we have to win by 5. We did it and accomplished it, and I played with a lot of guys that just wanted to win, and it was just a great feeling. We did anything and everything to win games. Like, it didn't matter if we had to lose. Like, we fouled hard, we dove for boost balls, we made big shots, we made big plays. Like, everything we did was just to win games. And that was, we all had that common factor, common goal. No one on the team was cared about really scoring 40 points. It was just like, it's a different dynamic that you see today. It's just guys that just wanted to win basketball games. Like, that was the goal.
Right.
We knew what we wanted to do. We wanted to win provincial. We wanted to win the OB Division I championship, and that's what we came to do. So we put everything aside to make sure that that goal was successful and we reached it. But I mean, that team as a whole, like you said, a lot of players on that team went and did great things. Like Jawan, he ended up switching up from basketball to football, and now he's playing in the CFL, like you say. I think he's playing for Calgary, I believe.
Yeah. He actually won a Grey Cup.
Exactly. And I played with Stefan Janovic. Stefan ended up going to Mizzou for a little bit, then ended up going to Hawaii. Ended his career in Hawaii, and he's been playing professional basketball for a little bit. So he's been doing a lot of good things for himself. And those are some of the top names I could think of right now. And myself, I played with Brandon John. Brandon John ended up going to Brock and playing at Brock for a few years.
Yep.
I went to Queens, played at Queens for a few years. Mahesh played at Detroit University for a bit.
Nico could have played Division I basketball somewhere.
Nico was really good. He just had some heart problems, which prevented him from playing. But we had a lot of guys. I mean, it's a lot of guys that really loved the game of basketball, and it really helped fulfill, me in terms of what I like to do, because I loved playing basketball at that age, and I loved doing everything basketball oriented. That was anything I wanted to do in my extra time was always basketball oriented. So when I was able to play with guys like that shared the same vision and thoughts and goals as myself, it made it so much easier and so much more fun.
For sure.
And that team was a team. We were a bunch of guys that came together that just gelled. We just gelled. We were just happy with each other. Trips, tournaments, games, it didn't matter. Like, we were just all just good with each other. We were all happy. We all joked around. We all had a good time. The coach had to put us in line sometimes. We had to run suicides, but other than that, we were good. Like, we were really good.
Yeah.
So that was a good experience for sure.
So you touched on something actually that's actually very important in today's basketball. Not even just not just basketball, but sports in general. And you said at the end, your chemistry. You guys like each other. You guys enjoyed each other. And what I'm seeing a lot from teams that we have, teams that are out there, whether they're playing CYBL or PTR and stuff like that, I see that a lot of guys don't necessarily seem like they like each other, and it affects that on the court sometimes. So like, I kind of want you to touch up a little bit on how important chemistry is for athletes and for sports and stuff like that, and kind of just go along how that was such a big success for you, because I feel like if you guys didn't have that chemistry you're talking about, maybe you don't go 45-0. Maybe you guys lose a few games because when it comes down to crunch time, you can't trust each other, right? So just kind of touch up a little bit on what you feel about chemistry and how important it is for teams to have chemistry and trust and stuff like that.
I mean, me myself, I've been known for different players in terms of like how my style of basketball, and I've got a lot of different comparisons. Someone said Draymond, someone said Magic Johnson in my past years. Some have said Boris Dia, and
Wow.
different things have come up, but they're all their highlighted features are the same as mine. They love to pass the ball.
Right.
So I've been someone that's been known to make passes. I like to make plays. That's something I've always enjoyed doing. I've never really, it's not that I haven't been able to put the ball in the hoop. I've always had a rush and a thrill from making a great pass, and that's something that I've always saw myself and always done for myself, and since the beginning of my career to my end of my career, it's just something I've always naturally done and been good at.
Of course.
So chemistry for me is huge because chemistry is something that in a team where you need 5 players on the court to be connected, if one person is off a beat, the whole team could end up losing a game. Just because, and it could be your best player or your worst player. If one guy doesn't want to act and play within the system suffers, right? The system only is good as the parts that make it run. And a lot of the people, a lot of the kids of today, I wouldn't say they necessarily can't play basketball. I say a lot of them don't understand the concept of a game being a 5-man sport. The game is highlight. Don't get me wrong, it's highlighted. If you're good and you're skilled, it will show. But I feel like a lot of kids like to push the envelope and go the extra mile to show things that they don't need to.
Right.
The basketball game or the game of today is played a lot different in terms of a lot less, systems that I was taught. I remember going to practices and working on cutting, pivoting, and passing for the whole 2 hours. Today, it's more up and down, more isolation basketball, more one-on-one stuff, one-on-one centered moves, screen breakdowns, coming off screens and making reads. So a lot of the things today are a little bit different than how we did things when I was younger. And I wouldn't say it's wrong. It's not wrong because things change over time. Of course, anything does. But it's just, it's starting to stray away from what a team sport is supposed to be. And I think that is a lot of the times what teams struggle with in today's game. Being able to, work with your team and connect with your team and being able to do things together as a unit is much more forceful and scary than when you have one guy doing everything. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, and a lot of kids understand that. Kids are today kind of are happy with scoring 40 points and still losing by 30, as opposed to winning by 40 points and only scoring 10. And those are things that I'm not necessarily saying is a bad thing. It's great that you have personal goals and you want to strive for those, but do it within the system that the team is giving you. Do it within the system that your teammates are providing with you. And that's a lot of the times I feel like that's a problem with today's game, and it hurts to watch sometimes because I know when I see good basketball I feel good. When I see good basketball and good plays, I feel good. When you see those Spurs highlights when the ball is passed and moving when you see that and you see that flavor with Spurs basketball, not just Spurs basketball, even sometimes Toronto does it, sometimes Boston does it. Well, when the ball is moving so fast and reads are just moving so smoothly. That looks good to watch, as opposed to when you see maybe James Harden comes down and just play with the ball for 50 dribbles, and then he decides to score on someone. Don't get me wrong, that's still cool, but it's not the same feeling I get when I watch that good team-oriented basketball.
Pass cut.
Exactly. Extra passes, all that stuff. That's always nice to watch. And chemistry is, for example, Golden State, they have a guy like Draymond to make those type of things happen. And no one understands the value that he holds on that team because people today don't understand how much those guys are necessary for teams to be successful.
I agree.
If it was just Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson, and maybe you added DeMarcus Cousins, even though he's injured, everyone just looking to score themselves. No one looking to pass the ball. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a guy like Draymond Green that's willing to make passes, willing to play within the system, willing to play defense, things like that, the team builds their morale. The team chemistry goes up. So because they're looking at him now, if he's willing to sacrifice and do that, now I'm going to sacrifice and do that, because it draws effect, right? So that's a huge thing for me with chemistry, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So talk about BJC. Then obviously from BJC go to high school. right? And in high school, you were fortunate enough to have a very successful basketball career. You played with the likes of Andrew Wiggins, who was another well draft pick in the NBA. You played with Troy Knight, who now plays at Carleton, and also played at Maine University. Henry Tan, you played with, who played at Lakehead? Lakehead?
We went to Lakehead and then went to Western, yeah.
And Western. You played with many guys. We don't got to go down the list and everything, but you played with a numerous amount of basketball players. Give me the experience over the 5 years at Vaughan, and not necessarily to talk about your senior year, just the experience right now. Just kind of talk about the experience of like, you know what, we can even talk about grade 9, grade 10, and then I'll break down, or I'll ask you a question about grade 11, grade 12, and 5th year. I have specific questions I'd like to ask you for that. So just kind of want to know like what was the difference of your grade 8 team and then your first 2 years at Vaughan for grade 9 and grade 10?
There wasn't much of a difference. I mean, coming into high school at grade 9, at this point I was on top of the world. I mean, I was talked about as one of the better players in the city at that time. My name was kind of starting to get projected a little bit more. I was starting to do a little bit more in terms of what I was able to accomplish, and people were starting to take notice of me. People were starting to come watch me, and people were asking questions of me: what team I'm playing on, what am I doing, where am I going? And I started to get like that year I played with the Ontario team, so that was a big step for me as well.
Right.
So that in the whole, I was on a pedestal. I was starting to get a lot, more exposure. I was put on a different platform that year after grade 8. So that was a good feeling, and that made it easy for me at Vaughan. Like when we went to games, automatically when I went to Vaughan, the coach pretty much gave me the handle on the situation. He said, I played with a lot of good players, like you said. Dinjo Walker, who actually ended up playing at Oklahoma.
Right.
Rashane, he actually came with me to Queens first, and ended up transferring to Ryerson. Adian Walters went to Laurier. Brendan Clark. Who else? A lot of other guys, and we ended up playing. And it wasn't us. Although I was playing with good players, you could see the coach trusted me the most, and he's like a second father to me. He still is. He's at Thornley now. His name is Mazan Alkins. He's done a lot for me in my past previous years, and he's been able to just. I came in as a good basketball player, but he's the one who challenged my basketball mind.
Right.
He was able to really break down situations with me, break down teams with me. We actually sat down and talked about basketball a lot of the times, and he made me see the game in a different perspective, a different light, and he wasn't just talking to me about X's and O's sometimes. He was just talking about overall character development and basketball plays and breakdowns and why he did this, or should he have done this, should he have done that, he's not good at this, what do you think he needs to work on? And we kept going back and forth a lot of the times from different tournaments where he would drive me home, and he really built up my basketball psyche.
Those are the best coaches, though. Like, don't you agree with that? Like, those are actually the best coaches. Like,
Yeah.
the ones that always like, XO, XO, XO. It's like, get the fuck off me, But like, the ones that are actually like, you know what? Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let me explain why I want X and O's like that. Like that's what I believe that are the best coaches out there. And those coaches are they're just you're right about that. Like, it's like the Greg Popovich kind of thing. Like those have your back, but when they yell at you, it's good intentions, right? So like that's good that you're able to have a coach like that too. So.
Yeah, for sure. Like he was able to really change things up for me. And it was really good because, like I said, grade 9 for me was great. I didn't have any problems. But grade 10, I got my knee injured. I ended up tearing my lateral meniscus. So throughout that time, because I couldn't play, I had to do different things. And part of that stuff was imagery, working on little things, breakdowns in my head, imagining things, working on my shot. That year, all I could really do was form shoot the whole year. And I ended up doing that while Alkins, we would still watch game films.
Trying to come back as Ray Allen, huh?
Yeah, we were really trying to develop everything outside, and he was really a big help in that aspect for me for sure. So
So,
that was a huge highlight for me in my grade 9 and 10 year. He was definitely my junior coach was definitely hands down one of my top 3 coaches in my career, and to this day I have nothing but love for him. If he ever asks me for anything, which he does, if he does, I'm always there. I will always step up and make sure I try and do my best for him. So
he's actually the only coach that I know that coached the gang in shades.
yeah, I mean, if you know him, he's the guy that comes in with a full suit, burgundy or purple. He slicks his hair back. He has a little ponytail. He has the shades on. He might have a little trench coat if it's a little outside. And that was his swag. He had a little briefcase and he was all business. You know, it was business for him. I mean, as much as he'll say himself, he loves basketball and he loved coaching basketball. But his thing was building characters, building men, building grown men, and he loved to work on that stuff. So that, like I said, he did that for me a lot, and I respect him. Like I said, he's like a father figure to me. He was like a second father for me, and I appreciate him to the end of the world. And that's something that if he ever asks me for something, it's love, 100%.
Yeah. So I mean, I know Sai's not gonna touch up on this, but we won't really touch up on this either. But just to let you viewers know, Coach Sai actually had a few interests from a few D1s. One that stood out to me was Baylor University. I mean, I actually know one of the coaches over there. So when I heard that he had interest from Baylor, it was like, oh wow, like that's pretty dope. That was the only one you had, or you had a couple others too?
At that time, like I said, after grade 9, I got a lot of letters to camps and stuff like that. After playing with my Ontario team, Baylor sent me that was actually my first letter ever, which was crazy. Like I remember getting a letter in my mail, and my mom came home, and I was just grooving. I was just jumping up and down, like I was just like, yeah, I'm nice. Like, yeah, I'm here. Like, I might forget school, mom. We're getting a check. Like, like that was where I was at that time. Like I was.
You're cocky.
I was there. Like I was like, yeah, I'm here now. Like like there was no doubt in my mind. So, like I said, I was grooving on it. I was feeling it. So, that was the first one. I got one from Columbia as well, and they were inviting me out to summer camp to come out to camp for just to like they wanted to get me in the system and see what I could do and stuff like that. So they invited me out there, and I got one to Detroit. I got one to where else did I get one? Nothing too. Well, I got one from Boston College.
Oh wow!
And I got one from Long Island.
That's what's up.
So I had those letters come in around the grade 9, grade 10 area, and like I said, I was on the point where I was just like, yo, like I'm here, like like I'm the guy in the streets right now. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, and it was definitely it hurt a lot because, like I said, grade 10 I was injured, I couldn't play. But like I was still letters were still coming in, so I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna be fine. Like don't worry about this. This is nothing. So, I mean, I thought at the time, but it was good.
That's good
for sure.
So we transitioned from your second father figure, and now we go into senior basketball. You just came off your injury, like you said, if you went from grooving all the time, you know what I mean, to just limping, and now you went to more of a disciplined coach, I would say. I don't know if he's more disciplined, but different coaching style of coach and Coach Gus. This is your last 3 years of basketball now. You came off an injury. What was your thought process going into the season? What was your thought process? Going into the season? Thought process coming out of that first season, and then developing into grade 12 and fifth year as well, knowing the fact that Andrew was coming to your school when you were going to grade 12 too.
Well, to touch on that, I mean, for me personally, when I came back, this was my first year playing after sitting out for a year. I at that point was in a point where I had fallen behind.
Mm.
So I had a year off. I wasn't playing. I didn't play basketball. So 365 days later, now people have forgotten about me. Um,
So a statement here for you.
yeah. I wouldn't say it was a statement year for me in the sense that it wasn't successful. I came back and people were like, "Sorry, you're not that good," and I was kind of overwhelmed by a lot that was going on. I wasn't. It's not that I wasn't performing. I was still performing, but I wasn't playing. I guess in the best light that I possibly could play in. So it was a struggle, not necessarily so much in terms of like pain or anything like that. It was a struggle trying to find myself because at this point I was like, people are telling me I'm not the same, but I'm seeing the results on the scoreboard and I'm thinking things still look the same to me.
So talking about your grade 11 year a little bit. Obviously you had the knee injury in grade 10. You came back to grade 11. You know you're trying to find yourself again. So now let's talk about your grade 12 and fifth year and your personal accomplishments. You know your team's accomplishments, playing with Andrew Wiggins, and just overall just maybe getting back into Cy Samuel form.
Um, Grade 12, I wouldn't say I got back into Cy Samuel's form. And even if I did, that was overshadowed by our young up and coming superstar Andrew Wiggins. And um, at the time, he came back. It was grade 10. He was in grade 10, and I was in grade 12. He had pretty much been the center of that team that year. He was the center of the team, of course. It made perfect sense. He was the young phenom that was supposed to do big things with basketball, not just basketball in high school, but Canada basketball nationally. Like he was supposed to be the next big thing, and playing with him was great. I have honestly, that was probably one of the most memorable years of basketball in my career. He so humble and just so modest at the time in terms of what he could really do. At the age of 16, because that's what grade 10 is, he was outplaying and outshining 17, 18, and 19-year-olds and making it look very easy. He was just something special, and in terms of what he was able to do on the court at that age, and the way he produced and the efficiency that he produced at was just something that was so rare to see.
Right.
He didn't. It goes back to my team chemistry. He never played without. He never played. You know, one-on-one basketball. He never played out of the system. He always still passed. He always still played with us. He always still performed with us, and that's what made it even easier. You have one of the best players to ever come off Canada, in my opinion. Just in terms of accolades, in terms of what he's been able to accomplish. The first ever Canadian draft pick ever. I guess second if you consider Anthony Bennett, but and Anthony Bennett, no disrespect to Anthony Bennett, he was a great player. He's been doing great things in the D League that I watched this year, and he actually played on the Ontario team with me when I was in grade 9, like I talked about. So Andrew, being one of the best to ever, I guess in terms of that platform, come out of Canada, he was able to just play basketball. I mean, he never got sucked in by the hype. He never really, started kind of pushing guys to the side and kind of started being selfish. He never did any of that. It was always, the team first, and he always was modest. He always was humble. He always played basketball, and like he was just a kid that just loved playing basketball, and he loved to compete, and it was always easy playing with him. It was never hard. It was never difficult.
Right.
He always made the right decisions at the right times, and it was something that you don't really see that often in a 16-year-old. but he was displaying it all season, and it's just that will and that that motor that he had, especially when he got upset or heated. Those would be the big games usually, but he was just able to really support and lead the team in that charge throughout that season, and we ended up winning OFSA, which was obviously no surprise, but um, he was definitely a big part of that, and he provided a huge service that year um, in terms of what he was able to do and accomplish with us. I'm not saying that I still believe that our team was very strong even without Andrew, and I think he would agree as well. But he definitely stamped on the head for a lot of people.
That also shows, I mean, you guys are back-to-back champions, right?
Yeah.
I know you didn't mention that, but most people that know Vaughn Voyager's history, they know that you guys won back-to-back championships, and I'm sure Andrew can definitely agree with that because when he wasn't there the following year, you guys won again. So, and most of the guys that were on your team that year, I'm pretty sure we're on the same team at that time for the following year and stuff like that too. So, it was definitely good, definitely agreeable, and it was good to see, especially for the Vaughn community as well. New York regions doesn't get a lot of love, and when you guys brought that home to the York region stuff, that was phenomenal, and definitely good. The one thing I was wondering is, what was the difference of that fifth year championship compared to that grade 12 championship? Like, well, I'm talking about us, obviously. How did your coach approach it differently? How did you guys approach the season differently? What was different about it? What was the same about it? Whatever you want to talk about, if you do want to talk about anything about that at all.
Well, that year was the statement year, really. That year was the year where everyone doubted that we could win again, or if we could even put ourselves in that same predicament or situation. And with all that being said, that made us even more hungry to come out and do it again. And a lot of us over that summer coming back into high school, myself included, we were stronger, bigger, better, faster. We all changed. We all physically, mentally, and emotionally changed. We changed our physiques. We changed our games. We got improvements that we were evident, evident in terms of what we wanted to accomplish. And we came in knowing exactly where we were going to end up by the end of the season. We were just trying to make sure that everyone else understood that as well.
Right.
So it was a season where I found myself just constantly working. That year was a big year for me personally because I was just training my ass off. I was in the gym, trying to get better, training with trainers like Kyle Julius, and just dedicated to making this basketball push at this point. And
so
our team was so successful. We had a moment where we collapsed a little bit, but it didn't matter because we knew we were going to bounce back and come back to where we needed to be. And we did, right? I mean, we ended up coming back to the finals, facing Eastern Commerce, and it was a blowout. It was a blowout. We beat them by 30 plus, and it was just a game where, it just stamped the season on the head of just how much better we were when we wanted to be, and it just it was a great feeling because we won again, but it didn't feel like a championship because it was so easy for us to get there once we locked in.
Right.
And it was just it's unexplainable because you can't really describe it to the people that weren't a part of it, but it was just so epic in that sense. And I think that for a lot of us, we were just we were so focused on the goal, and we finally got there, and everything we had to go through, everything we had to do, all the practices, all the running, all the suicides, all the weight room stuff, all the team meetings where they're never good. It just built up to this moment, and it was so worth it at that time, just because we were able to prove everyone that we were here and able to do it again. So that was just nice.
Cool. Last thing I want to talk about, in terms of your history and stuff like that, is after Vaughan Secondary School, you had the luxury to go to Queen's University. You got a scholarship over there, and then from Queen's University, you took a couple years off, and now you're back in Humber again, hoping to maybe go for one more year. And just want to get the little. Want you to talk about your experience with Queens when you were a little younger, and then I want you to talk about Humber, about how you've been a little more mature, a little older, and try to understand, college experience a little different, and what you could have maybe done differently when you were at Queens, or maybe you're completely content with Queens and stuff like that, or what you do maybe even now while you're at Humber.
Queens was a great experience. I loved it. The social aspect, anyways. Basketball was good at times. I had to really earn my spot there. I came back. I came to school thinking that the head coach was just going to give me anything I wanted. And of course, in my position, I felt like that made the most sense. Came off 2 fresh back-to-back OFSA championships. I played at some of the highest levels that you could possibly play at in high school basketball. My name at this point was solidified and talked about, and I had probably every CIS coach almost at the time, in some form or another, talked to me and tried to recruit me in terms of coming to their school. So when I decided to go to Queens, it was originally with a bunch of guys that I somewhat knew, including Rashane, which actually went to school with me my whole life, or my whole high school career. And it was a humbling experience when I first got there.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I wasn't better than a lot of the guys there, but the coach was not going to give me anything easy.
Right. Everything was earned.
Everything was earned. So I was in a position where I was sitting there. A lot of times, sometimes my minutes were only looking like 8 minutes. Sometimes it was 12. Sometimes it was back to 6. Sometimes it was up to 12, up to 13, maybe up 15 one game if I had a really good day. Then back down to 10, back down to 8. So
a lot of inconsistency.
Yeah, my numbers, my playing time really fluctuated for the first year, and I ended up getting injured. I had turf toe, for people that don't know. It's basically like a strain in the muscles of your bottom of your feet, and you're unable to apply pressure on certain spots. So I couldn't really walk or run because I couldn't push off the foot. So I was out for about 2 months, and throughout that time, coming back now and then the season now, I'm basically out of the rotation, not really playing, not able to do much. So that first year kind of was just a whatever year.
Trial run.
Yeah, it was a trial run. And then through all that, I was unable to really perform and really catch a rhythm. So that was a huge humbling experience and an eye-opener, if you say, an eye-opener for me. Coming back, second year now, I didn't even play because I had a lot of family stuff and school stuff that was happening at the time. But I was still a part of the team. I would practice and all that stuff. But so that was really just a year where I just worked on my game. I just kind of got better, got back into a little bit of a groove, started taking care of my body a little bit more, and all in preparation for year 3. So year 3 comes, and I'm starting for practically half the season now, and I'm playing games a little bit more. The coach trusts me a little bit more. I went from playing the forward position to playing pretty much 1 to 5 at any possible night. So the trust has been built between my coach, at least more so, and my production was getting a lot better as well. So that year was good. It was a solid year. It was a good way for me to end off and have what I needed in terms of that confidence builder that I needed for myself. And that was my last year playing at Queens. Then I ended up coming back, like you said, and taking a few years off, and that's when the RWI stuff started for me. And I ended up now I'm going to Humber, and that's a whole different experience now. A few years later, I haven't really played basketball. Really kind of just got dragged into it by one of my friends, but it was a good experience this year. We had a good time. We ended up coming third in nationals, and being the older guy on the team, one of the older guys. It's funny because I'm looking at the kids and I'm just like, I can say kids. I'm looking at the kids because I've been there, I've done that. So when these guys are 21, 22, 23 years old, 23 even might be a little bit older, but 19 even. And I'm just looking at these guys, I'm like, yeah, I remember that. I was like that when I was at Queens. Yeah. So it's fun in that sense because I get to see exactly how I was when I was at Queens and trying to, be the best possible mentor and guide for these younger guys because at the end of the day, that's why I'm there. Like, they brought me in to be a vet, so be a vet, be a leader, be a vet, be a leader, try and give back as much as possible. So that was my role, and I try to do it to the best of my abilities. And obviously, the team had ups and downs throughout the year, which most teams always do. But I thought the kids and the experience itself were really great, and I was able to really have a good time. And Humber really does provide a great institute as well as a great athletic experience. They really do take care of their athletes, and that's something I definitely took in and I took note of.
Shout out James.
Yeah, shout out to James the Pope.
What would you call him again? Your godfather?
The Godfather.
The Godfather of Humber Athletics.
Yeah, so he's it's just they do a good job over there, and it definitely provides that kind of university basketball athletic field, but they're applying it at a college, which is great. So I respect them for that. And I had a good time, and it was a good season. And they're hosting nationals next year, which we're all looking forward to, and it'll be a great addition to the experience. So just looking forward to having a good time.
So we're gonna touch a little bit more. That's the end of Cy Samuel's history. Hopefully you guys like that. We're talking now about one of the biggest things that RWI does. We have a tournament at the end of May each year. It's called Pink City Classic, and it's in honor of Cy Samuel's mom, Miss Roxanne Richards, who was a wonderful, loving, caring, beautiful woman. Even at times where my mom asks how's Cy doing with that, like he remembers some memories too about Miss Roxanne. And honestly, there's never been a time that I've seen her that she wasn't happy, she wasn't smiling. Her glowing smile would always be like the light of everything. She'd be cheering Cy on. No, I wasn't crying, but she'd be cheering Cy on and everything. And she's always there, like supporting him. She was just being a great woman. So I reached out to Cy, and I'll let Cy say the rest of it. But we're going to talk a little bit right now about Pink City Classic and just a little bit about it. God damn, my eyes are.
So yeah, I don't really know where to start, to be honest. So as Steven said, my mom passed away, or mentioned, or I guess technically kind of referenced. My mom passed away in 2014 from breast cancer. To be honest, those were some of the hardest days of my life so far. In terms of my progress, in terms of my building point, I was sitting and I just didn't know where to go, what to say, what to think, what to do. And personally, my thing was I wanted to do something. I didn't really know what it was, but something had to be done, and I just had no idea of what it could possibly be. And Steven calls me one day, and he's just like, "Yo, fam."
The typical shit that I do.
I'm like, yeah, like, what's going on? He's like, let's run a basketball tournament. I'm like, what do you mean? He's let's do a basketball charity tournament. Let's do a charity tournament. I'm like, okay, you have my attention. Like, proceed. Like, what are you thinking? He's like, your mom passed away, it's breast cancer. We can make it a breast cancer charity event. We can make it in honor of your mom. It could be a great thing. We're now doing RWI stuff, but we'll be able to reach out to people and get people involved. It could just be a fun event, like just a way for you to, give back, and we can give back and put money into the Breast Cancer Foundation, into Prince St. Margaret Hospital, all those things. And I'm just like, you know what, like that sounds like a good idea. Like, let's do it. Like, let's do it. Sign me up. Like, let's try and figure this out. So the whole basketball thing for me made a lot of sense, because my mom loved basketball. Like, she loved watching Vince Carter. She was a huge Vince Carter fan. And basketball in itself was really it's entertaining to her. Like, she would watch my games. She would be talking all the time, yelling at me, whatever. So this whole experience that I wanted to try and create through Pink City made so much sense, just because I knew exactly what my mom kind of liked about basketball. So the connection, putting two and two together, was just a no-brainer. It was so simple. It made perfect sense. And Steven hit me with the idea, and then shortly after that, we put the plan in motion, and we tried to approach some people, and we didn't approach the right people at first, but we approached people, and it came up to us pretty much getting things done last minute, last second, everything you could possibly think of. And the Pink City, the first year, was essentially just a lot of people and friends that wanted to support a cause. I mean,
it's pretty much a platform for the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, I mean, the first year was people more so being,
nice. Nice.
Being nice. That's all I'll say. People were being very nice first year. They came out. The tournament was, and if I'm looking back on it, the tournament was poorly organized, poorly ran. Refs weren't there. Everything you could possibly think of went wrong. We didn't even end up really raising any money the first year. It was kind of a letdown. A lot of it was disappointing, but at the same time, you live and learn. You learn how to do things properly, and you make the better efforts the following years. And we knew everything that we weren't supposed to do for the second annual. So with that being said, me and Steven were on it from the jump. As soon as May was over, we took some time off, we kind of chilled. But as soon as July came into effect, July and August, we were on it. I mean, things were changing. We knew that we were trying to do the tournament again, so we kind of had to get rid of the people that did it poorly with us the first time. And we ended up going to different people, getting different people in the door, talking to other people, talking to this guy, talking to that girl. So many different things were being done, and we finally started to kind of find a groove in terms of what we were doing and trying to accomplish. And it worked out for the best. I mean, second annual was
way better
in comparison to the first one. Strides were taken. Strides. And
shout out Debbie Dorfman for that one.
Yeah, strides were taken. So it became something that, at this point we have our fourth annual coming up, and the third annual was even bigger than the second one, and the fourth one is supposed to be bigger than even the third one. And it's just one of those things where you have to see for yourself the build-up of the stages that we've had to go through. We've had to go through a lot, from the first one all the way to now the fourth coming up. Is just huge changes, so many different things. Like, we went from, no refs to refs now. We went from only having like 3 divisions to having, 10, different things like that. So we are slowly but surely progressing, and we're just trying to get everyone involved, because we just want the tournament to provide the best possible experience for everyone that comes in the room or comes in the gym. And that's a huge thing for us. We want everyone to come in and have a great weekend, have a great time, watch basketball, watch maybe some of the little events that we're gonna throw, little things like that. And it's just we've not only used it as a platform for basketball, we use it as a platform to showcase the community, inspire hope, inspire things that are positive in people's lives, and just to have an overall great weekend of enjoyment and forgetting all the bad stuff that people might have in their day-to-day lives. And it's just something that we've been using the big city as to try and inspire and push people into the positive light that we want for ourselves. And that's something that we look highly into, and we're trying to make sure that we accomplish each and every year with the Pink City, because obviously Pink City is something that's very dear to me. So trying to make sure that we get right people in the door and make sure that we change, even if it's just for a day, change someone's mindset, change someone's attitude, change someone's light or aura, and just make it come around and just kind of forget all the bad things that have happened.
Yeah. See, the way I look at Pink City, I agree with you on one thing you touched upon when you're talking about the platform, not only for basketball, but for kind of fun as well, right? And to expose, not really expose, but to learn more about the breast cancer and what it can do for people. And obviously, we all come together for one reason. We all come together for a good cause, a great cause and stuff. So, honestly, Pink City this year, the fourth one this year, May 24th, 26th, Humber College and Seneca College. This is going to be the biggest one that we've done so far. And to be honest with you, if you're not there, you're probably missing out. What did you say that?
Yeah.
You're probably missing out.
We have a lot in store, so
We definitely have a lot in store. So if you haven't registered your team yet, make sure you contact one of us to get on that. High school, men's, women's, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8. I mean, North Pole Hoops will probably be involved in it too. So we just got to make sure that we get everybody involved, and you guys are not going to want to miss this one. With that being said, anything else you want to talk about?
well, that's it, man. I think we're signing off for now.
We're signing out. That's episode 1, Talk Your Exposure. Cy Samuels, Stephen Korn. Until next time.
They're playing basketball. We love that basket.